call to order. 7:15. All selectmen are present. We have a number of guests. Have you, if you want to pass, you're good? Okay, good. Hear from public. Do we have anybody from the public who would like to? Yes. State your name. Is this turning around? Let's see if it turns around to you.
Okay. My name is Nancy Neff. It's not turning towards Nancy Neff, and I'm from 101 Old Town Road.
But it's still not picking up the person who is speaking. So what I'd like you to do for what is, oh, did it? Oh, I just can't see it. All right. Okay, Nancy Neff. And Nancy, make sure you speak up well. Here's the thing.
Okay. I'll stay seated so it sees me. It doesn't pick up people standing very well.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
I have some comments about the Babcock Library Board of Trustees vacancy and the recommendation made to you by the board. My first point is to ask what selection process was followed. I think whether a defined, fair, and transparent process was followed should be considered before the Board of Selectmen automatically accepts the library's board recommendation. For example, there has not been a public documented meeting of the board since before the announcement of the vacancy. So who made this decision is unknown. We finally found the board's bylaws in the library files, 2 pages, and they say nothing about the procedures for filling vacancies. The town clerk does not have the bylaws at all. My earlier request for them to the chairman of the library board of trustees has gone unanswered. This difficulty in obtaining the bylaws is another problem. The bylaws should be readily available to the public, preferably with a copy easily accessible in the library itself and on the website. Second, in this current specific case, my letter of interest has to date still not even been acknowledged by the chairman of the board. There has been no communication from her or from anyone on the board, and no interview process, meaning that I have never been given an opportunity to discuss my qualifications for the position. I must also point out that Beth Fitzroy has twice said to me that she doesn't want to be on the board. While discussing the election outcome, she said she hadn't wanted to be on the board anyway. And when I asked her why then did she run, she said she had been pressured to do so. In an email to me last Monday, she said she had been reluctant to accept the appointment now being recommended. In contrast, I am eager and enthusiastic for the work of the board. I think this is a factor that should be given strong consideration. So in summary, I think some sort of documented, open evaluation process, such as the Board of Education has, is needed and would probably have resulted in a different recommendation in this case. I am requesting that you not automatically accept the recommendation you have received, but instead find out what process was followed, if any, including whether there was a reasonable time for other letters to be received. It is worth finding out what the recommendation would be if a defined and public process were followed. That is a process for consideration of more than a single predetermined candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy, would you mind allowing us to make a copy of that, what you just read to us?
Sure. No,
thank you. So we can make sure that we have captured at least the essence of it properly.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can I get Nancy's last name?
Neff.
N-E-F-F. And my middle initial is A.
Okay.
There's another Nancy Neff in the area.
Okay.
So we need the A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else persons to be heard? Okay. Moving on. First Selectmen's briefing. In your packet, you will find, these are in sequence, okay? First thing is an update to let you know that you'll see an estimate for a repair to one of our trucks. And it is, I'm just trying to make sure I remember which one. What they, this is a $22,000 repair that's required. I believe it's $22,621.92. And this is for the 2008 International Workstar vehicle that we have. So it's not like it's a new vehicle. And they tried working with it. They thought that there would be maybe a $9,000 to $10,000 repair, but now apparently it's just fine. So it's the cylinders, it's valves, it's a whole bunch of things. So I'm just letting the selectmen know that we will ultimately overrun the line for repairs on our vehicles in the highway department. And I will be letting the Board of Finance know on Thursday night. So, and what you have here is you have the estimate, and it's from Woodstock Repair and Services. All right.
Can we ask questions now?
But not in a lot of detail, only because I just need to get through the briefing to give you the information that I have.
Okay, we're not voting or doing anything on this now?
Oh, we have to.
Okay, so then I do have questions.
No, we don't have to. We don't have to. The board doesn't have to approve this. This is just part of managing overall.
Understood.
Okay. So we have that. Maybe I would do better if I was putting these up here. The other thing you have, the next thing in your packet is the unions. It's harshly worded, but it isn't meant to be. Demand to negotiate and request for information. So as I've told you before, the union contract is up on June 30th of this year, and we need to get another contract in place by July 1st. And it was a 3-year contract, and it's worked out pretty well over the 3 years. So negotiations are going to need to start. I will be coordinating the meetings with the union representatives, so and the selectmen, for us to go into those negotiations.
So all of us go in?
Excuse me?
All of us go in, is what I'm hearing?
Well, yes. We'll set up, I'll coordinate with the union reps to get the meeting set up, but then we'll have executive sessions when we do this. Okay. And provide you, you have another packet upstairs that was in response to some questions you had. That has the current union contract in it, so you can look at that as well.
And when we have any information upstairs, does anybody let us know? I didn't know that those were up there.
You should always check your mailbox.
Okay.
Okay, it was in your mailbox with this.
Okay.
Okay, we brought this down because this pertains to this meeting. The other was response to some questions that were posed.
Right.
Okay, providing you with background information, etc. Okay. The next thing in your packet is about the federal local bridge program. And so I have a summary here, and give me just a second and perhaps I can bring this on. Let's just see. No, that's not it. Well, I'll read it to you, or at least part of it. This overview says there's 2 bridges that need to be replaced. There is a federal local bridge program, and what I attached was their presentation of this program. So the program's different than it used to be, but bottom line is that the feds will pay 80% and the state will pay 20%. That's 100%. The only things that are excluded are during construction. The town would have to pay the, whatever the legal fees are, the bidding process for construction, that kind of thing, which I don't anticipate would be a large amount. However, the rub in all of this, the general issue is that the way this program works is, first of all, the state, this group called Design Managed by State is called the Design Managed by State program. And they have GM2 Associates Incorporated has been engaged by the state as consultant liaison engineers to oversee the program. So they take care of the design, and this is different than what used to happen, the other ways that we did design work. It was all part of the project. Instead, they take care of that. And if I recall, Chris, because Chris has participated in some of the discussions, is that we would have to do a pay-as-you-go, and it's only for the construction phase. We would have to manage, so think about this. And these bridges, one of them is the Boston Hollow Road #2 over Bigelow Brook, and the other is Axe Factory Road #2 over Bigelow Brook. So, one of these goes into the Yale Forest, I believe, but the both of these are kind of between Ashford and Eastford, right? Thanks. The rub on this pay-as-you-go is that the construction invoices will need to be paid, I'm going to say fronted, by the town within 30 days after they arrive each month. So imagine that the first invoices are probably going to be huge because they're going to be bringing the materials in. So town payments are then to be submitted to the state for reimbursement. According to GM2 Associates, they've asserted that reimbursements to the town should arrive within 60 days of payment. Thanks, Christina. I solved my problem. Thank you. Gotta go. Bye. Where was I? Then the payments, whatever we paid for these construction invoices, would then have to be submitted to the state for reimbursement. GM2 Associates have asserted that reimbursements to the town should arrive within 60 days of payment submission. So the construction cost estimates for these two bridges, the first one, Boston Hollow Road #2 over Bigelow Brook, is $4 million. And the other one, Axe Factory Road #2 over Bigelow Brook, is $3 million. So again, kind of imagine us as a town having to front those costs. So we're in some discussions with about how to financially manage that. We'll be having a meeting also with Christina Davis and providing information ultimately to the Board of Finance about this. We need to get certain approvals. There's a process you have to go through. We are under the gun a bit because they were looking for some kind of response from us, a commitment in February. And of course, we're doing the budget process and that process right now as well. So, let's see. We're sorting through various approval steps and following up with contacts in other towns that are or have engaged in this program to understand how they are managing the financial aspects. So, and we'll share this information with everybody.
Having 20% of $4 million is $800,000. It's something the town has to pay.
No, we would have to front $4 million. Okay. Ultimately, when we submit the payments for reimbursement, we would get that money back. This is only for the construction phase. The other phase, the design phase, is being done in a new way and more quickly than in the past. So I think they were trying to get this started in 2027. We also could conceivably stagger these projects, so we're not getting hit with both of them at the same time. So again, more information will come. But I did want to make sure that you as selectmen have a copy of the presentation that they did and have this little summary to refer to. Okay? And then,
I will say Andover just did 2 of their bridges, or they've completed 1 of their bridges, so.
I don't know if they use this program.
Yeah.
Okay, probably. We do know that there's some other towns that are, and so we're talking to them. Plus, we need to talk with Eastford. And by the way, these 2 bridges, they're not going to pass inspection. And the inspection periods are every 2 years. And I think one of them's coming up for inspection, I think in October of this year. I don't remember about the other one, but they're within a 2-year period. So we can anticipate that in all likelihood, before the project actually gets going, we're going to need to do repairs to those bridges to at least make them roadworthy. But they are desperately in need of repair. So, and that's something I'm talking with Casey, our Public Works Director, about how much money he thinks is going to be needed to bring those, at least have them pass inspection. All right, that was 3 things, I believe. So that's my update. Any questions? Let me just pull up the agenda again. Next thing on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meetings of a whole bunch of them. So in your packet is the documented response from town council. In summary, truly summary, it matches what I was saying before, is that if one of the selectmen, even prior to becoming a selectman, being a selectman-elect, for example, attended the meeting and read the minutes, then that person could participate in approving the minutes. If either or both selectmen, I'm referring to you folks because I was there, were to view the video and then read the minutes, they could approve the minutes based upon what they observed in the video. So this is the official thing. This is, again, what was said before. I don't know, have either of you, we are at the November 17th minutes are the ones in question.
Mhm.
So have either of you viewed the video or are in a position to make a motion to approve these minutes? I know, Tess, you were physically there at the
Yes,
meeting.
I was. Yep, and I did request this back in November, so thank you for that.
Your other packet will tell you when the request was done. Okay, so I know Al was not at the meeting. So Tess, are you ready to make a motion to approve these minutes?
Yep, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from
November 17th, 2025. I will second that motion. Al, I suspect that you may not have watched the video to try and, sort through the minutes. So what I would like to do is, at that point, if there's any more discussion.
If he read the minutes, he can vote as well.
He was not at the meeting. You were at the meeting. He wasn't at the meeting, so he would have had to review the video and looked at the minutes.
Okay, so it is our opinion that the approval of those minutes can be accomplished by the new board of selectmen, provided that those voting on the matter have conducted a thorough review of the proceedings which occurred on November 17th and are satisfied that the written minutes accurately reflect what took place. So it doesn't say video or
it is
minutes.
Review the proceedings means in his case, because he wasn't at the meeting, how could he review it unless he watched the video?
Yep. Yep.
So if you have not seen the video, then I would suspect you would abstain. Are we ready to vote on this matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You're abstaining
You can't-
because you haven't seen the video. Okay, thank you. Finally, I never want to see these again. Okay, the minutes, and they're all included in your packet in case you didn't have them with you. So the next meeting is the January 5th meeting. And I need a motion to approve those minutes.
Catherine, I do have a question.
We'll need a motion and a second in order to discuss it. Would somebody make a motion and somebody make a second so that we can discuss these minutes? Because apparently you have a question.
Mhm.
Then make a motion.
Make a motion.
The motion would be to approve the minutes
Right.
of the meeting of January 5th, 2026. So moved. Thank you, Al. Tess, are you going to second that?
Oh, second, yes. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, what's the question you have?
When I had sent a letter of request for a number of things, some of these things were on there, which was in regards to the wagon shed and the information on the wagon shed. A brief history. I can't get into my sent messages. So I'm wondering, I did.
When was it
send a letter
sent?
of request.
When was it sent?
That would have been, I believe, after a special, maybe January 16th.
Okay, so what was it but you asked for that after the fact?
Well, I put it in writing, but I did request that in meetings. Information on the wagon shed. January 5th.
Well, we don't have that. So where do we go from here?
Well,
Was that, I'm not sure that that request was made in that meeting.
Okay.
Because I know that, Chris was there, and if it were information on the wagon shed, what is it, the grant? The properties? What?
I'm trying to find my,
If you're talking about your January 9th email to Chris,
January 9th, that's correct. Yep.
all questions that were asked in that are in a packet The responses are all in a packet upstairs for you. They've been up there. So you need to look in your inboxes. That's where we put things.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
And
it would be helpful, and I'm not sure if Al comes in frequently, but it would be helpful if we were to know when stuff gets in the box.
we add it as we go,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is that you stop in the day before a meeting
Yeah.
and pick it up then.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so where do we go with this? All right, well, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of, bear with me. This is January 5th, right? January 5th? Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. What is your,
Did he make a motion?
we made the motion before in order to discuss it.
Abstain.
Okay. Thank you, Al. Okay. The next set of minutes are January 9th. And this was a special meeting where we looked at minutes to approve them from previous meetings.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for Friday, January 9th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Al. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Unanimous. Okay, the next set of minutes. On Friday, January 16th, special meeting.
Mm. I make a motion to accept the meetings from Friday, January 16th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Al. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tess?
I said aye.
Unanimous, thank you. The minutes from the meeting of January 23rd. Another special selectmen meeting.
I make a motion to accept the meetings Friday, January 23rd.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Thank you.
I do have.
Great.
I do have a question, Catherine, in regards to these minutes.
Yep.
When we met, the last special meeting, I believe, it wasn't the last special meeting, it was upstairs, the special meeting held. I had questioned whether special meetings were being recorded or not. And so for some that might be here, can you explain why some special meetings?
I'll tell you the same
regular
thing.
meetings-
I'll tell you the same thing that I told you then.
Yeah.
And the same thing that Karen Zulik down in the town clerk said.
Well, I'm just.
Because we brought
asking
her
for-
up. When we have special meetings during the day, a great example is we had a meeting, approved 3 sets of minutes. That's all that was on the meeting agenda. We don't put up a Zoom meeting during the day to have you watch us approve minutes. The other special meetings that have been having are work meetings, and they relate to the budget. So with those run 3.5 hours. And we're going line by line, looking at what we have to work with, going through each thing in the budget. We've done it multiple times now. And then we're starting to make some adjustments. So those are work meetings where people are really not in a position to really watch along, and they run a long time. In the past, when the selectmen got together to go through the budget, they did it on a Saturday as a work meeting with no notice. Okay, like 2 Saturdays. And so what I've done is I put out the meeting notice. If someone wants to come to the meeting, fine. But as far as putting up going and getting a Zoom meeting, putting it up, trying to make sure everybody can see everything that's going on when we're basically making sausage, doesn't work very well. So between that, could be some other special meetings during the day. What we do is for every regular Board of Selectmen meeting, it's recorded. You know, these are at 7 o'clock at night on the regular meeting agenda schedule. So we are not the only group that does that. This has gone on ever since we had Zoom, because before they used to be just in-person meetings. Okay, but what I have done is made sure that they're warned. So if someone wants to sit in while we're doing that, that's fine. We had a member of the Board of Finance come and sit in on one of was it our first one? Or I think it was our first one, making sausage, just going through what had been submitted raw by the various town departments. So that's what we do. And like I said, Karen Zulik came up to clarify that.
And I will, just for the minutes, I will say that on that January 9th meeting, I did ask if that was, and she did confirm that, Karen did do that, but I did request prior to that, and that day as well, where council agreed that it's.
If I could elaborate,
Yeah.
And then we're not going to create a new agenda item out of this, okay? What happened was Karen went down. You had indicated that you had asked for the written opinion during a particular meeting.
Correct.
And if you recall, when Karen was leaving, after she'd explained to you about recorded meetings,
Correct.
she was going to go down and she was going to view the video.
Mm-hmm.
It was hours later. So she let me know that she reviewed the video 3 times, and that request was not made during that meeting. So what I did in the minutes, as I had explained to you during the meeting, was that if it was not in that video, then I would make sure it was recorded in our minutes that you were making the request now.
Very good.
Okay, so that's what's in the minutes.
Thank you.
And let's see. I'm trying to remember what the thing, that request has been satisfied.
It has today. Yep, I see it. Thank you.
All right, is there something else? Never mind, we're moving on. So agenda, back to the agenda. We have some appointments. Let's see. Here for boards, commissions, committees. Our department.
I'm on the agenda later, Chris.
Under new business, okay. Yes. If you can, could we bring you in?
If you want, I don't know
Move
if
you.
you want to.
Not yet. I think we want to take care of the appointments first. Thanks. I can tell you've sat on a board before, a board. All right, so let's see. Boards, commission, committees, we don't have anything to my knowledge. New business, the budget review, I'm going to ask that we move, that we do the board and commission appointments first, so these other folks who came here specifically for that, can leave if they want to. I'm sure the proposed budget could be a lengthy discussion. So, I don't think I need a motion to go down to that, right? Chris?
I'm sorry?
I don't need a motion to go down to the board and commission appointments.
So
I
skip
don't
A
think
and-
so.
So skip A and we're moving.
All right, so we have zoning board of appeal, I'm sorry, is the only one we have the Babcock Library?
No,
Oh, that's right, I see the other ones, sorry.
we have Housing Authority, the appointment,
Got it,
Van Phillips,
all right.
for a 5-year term.
Okay, so Babcock Library Board of Directors. What's on the agenda is appointment of Elizabeth Fitzroy as recommended by the Babcock Library Board of Directors to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Jane McCarthy. This appointment would extend to November 16th, 2027. We have not received, and I don't know that the Board of Directors had a formal meeting.
Excuse me.
If I could finish speaking, please.
Excuse me.
I have talked with the town clerk. There have been no minutes filed from a meeting of the Board of Directors indicating that you have recommended this person. It would have had to have been a vote. So what I'd like to do is table this until you're able to produce minutes from your meeting. Okay, I expect that you would put out a notice of a meeting and then you would have minutes for it, like the other boards. So I'd like to table this until you actually have a meeting. I think it's unfortunate. Could you please clarify for me how you arrived at this decision? Was it a meeting? Was it just?
Yeah, could I speak?
Now I'm asking you to speak.
We met as a group, as a committee, and discussed, reappointing Beth to replace Jean, who decided not to run again. She has been a member of the board for the past number of years and is just an outstanding person. And we all agreed that.
I'm sorry, what meeting did you agree in? Was it a meeting, a formal meeting? You have to have a formal meeting with a motion.
It was not a formal
Okay, regardless of the qualifications of anybody you're putting forward, you would not need to have that. Okay, thank you. So,
Okay.
and I would expect that you would have not decided something like that outside of a formal meeting.
Excuse me?
I would expect that you would not have just had a bunch of people get together and decide something like that outside of a formal meeting and a vote.
Thank you for your opinion.
All right, our town, our future core committee.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
What procedure is there for entertaining letters of interest for a vacancy on the board?
Bear with me. That would be sent to the selectmen, is that correct? Typically, we do look for a recommendation from a board.
Mhm.
Okay, but letters of interest would be sent to the selectmen and to the board.
I did.
Okay, I'm assuming you have addresses, phone numbers, or whatever you need to provide that to the board.
I emailed both the board and you.
Well, I just sit back until I have the formal motion. Okay,
Okay.
we do. Okay, and typically we want a recommendation from the board as well. And whoever is interested in running for a position is supposed to provide something, either a letter or an email talking about their interest, what they bring to the board. We provide that to our selectmen,
Mhm.
okay, as part of consideration.
Okay.
And so we expect that. We expect a recommendation from the board. Doesn't have to be there, but we do look for it. And then we will go from that. Chris, would you say there's anything different than that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Can I just
Paul?
add to this?
Yeah.
So, something that's very important to me, when you're filling a vacancy like this is normally an elected position from the members of town, voters.
Right,
So when the board of selectmen in this case is tasked with filling this position, it's a very serious matter. So they're looking for recommendations, they're looking for people's letters of interest. That's very important for them to make sure that when they do this, because they're acting on behalf of the town. So that's why they take, and it's a serious issue in this case. I know it seems like we're just going on the spot, but that's not really what they're doing. They're acting as the voting members of the town because that's the way the process is set up.
So that's why.
Paul, thank you, I appreciate that.
There should be a formal defined process.
And would that formal defined process come from the library itself, or would it come
There's,
from us?
they're, to make a recommendation, okay? There should be a formal process that they have. In other words, make a motion, discuss various candidates, whatever, make a motion. And I don't know if they do that in executive session. I don't know if that qualifies. And then they make a motion as a board and approve it. Then send it off to the town clerk to get recorded. And then provide the person's interest or whatever to the Board of Selectmen for our consideration.
And I was on the website this evening and I didn't see Al and I's name anywhere on the Board of Selectmen.
Well, let's make
Only
sure that
email.
gets updated. I'll follow
Right.
up.
So when I heard you, correct me if I'm wrong, people can contact a selectman or the first selectman for that.
What happens is the email is sent to the first selectman
Okay.
typically, and I put it out to you for agenda items
Okay.
for consideration. Okay. Okay, thank you. I know I sound a little bit harsh. It's just that, as Paul said, it's pretty serious business, so we have to do it pro forma. Thank you. All right, our town, our future core committee. Is this one where we needed to, I forgot to ask the question. Sorry.
Good.
Table till next time. What we need to do is we need to check with our town, our future, to reaffirm, or reappoint the members who are on that committee. I do encourage people to join that committee, or participate with them. They have some interesting ideas. Ashford Housing Authority, reappointment of Ann Phillips to a term to expire January 1st, 2031. So this is on that commission,
I'm sorry,
and that's on that commission. Did we get something from the commission?
Housing Authority. Sherry did, and she's already done up the appointment. Yeah, it is.
Would you as selectmen entertain this? Ann Phillips has been on that board how long? Long time.
We don't have that paperwork.
No, the town clerk does in terms of what they had as a motion to do that. Is that correct?
To us.
I'm asking, do we have something there?
That's from the Housing Authority.
Excuse me. So we honestly don't have something.
Okay.
This is great. This is the Housing Authority certification, okay, that we would be approving. I would be approving as Sherry would, based upon whatever we decide. But what we don't have is something from them, from Ann.
Anne brought that in because she came into the town clerk's office to be sworn in. And she couldn't be sworn in because she has to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Correct. So I think where you were going was, we don't have anything from Anne other than this certification thing that says what her interest is. I want to be even-handed with everybody who's
That's
doing
fine.
this, unfortunately. So we're gonna table that. How about this? We may, if we were to get the information that's required, we have a meeting that we're going to be holding on Friday, our Board of Selectmen. Would there be any issue if, in that particular case, if we got the information that's needed, that we had those things on the agenda to do these appointments?
Then I would say put it on the agenda.
Very good, thank you.
I can't.
Yeah, we're not looking to make people miserable, we're just trying to make sure we've got the things that we're supposed to have. Okay, and I can reach out to Jessica if you want.
Jessica.
Housing Authority.
It would come from Dennis Burke.
Oh, from Dennis? Okay, thank you. Clean Energy Task Force. We did have something from Irwin and from Susan Eastwood. Or did we not get the thing from Susan Eastwood?
We don't have anything in our packet.
I understand. I'm just trying to make sure maybe we overlooked putting it in the packet. Thank you.
That's the only thing I have.
If you don't mind, this is not only what Mr. Krieger wrote. This is also bear with me, the endorsement by the Clean Energy Task Force. So could I pass this to you and take a look at it? So maybe we can get one of these done, and then you can give it to Al. Thanks.
It would be helpful to get those early.
Yes, and actually, we honestly just didn't think to put them in the packet. If you look at the other side, Al, you'll see what Mr. Krieger said. Would someone like to make a motion to appoint, bear with me, Erwin Krieger as recommended by this CETF?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Al.
A second.
Yes. Very good. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. And a thank you to Mr. Krieger for volunteering. Okay, now, how about fire department? And,
You'll do the tax refund first.
okay, is it real quick? Do we have a
Just
lot?
one.
Okay, can we do tax refunds quickly?
Right, Citing statute 12-129, refund to James Cody in the amount of $441. Submitted by the tax collector.
All in favor? I'm sorry, a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to,
Okay, yes, Tess. A second?
Second.
Al, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved unanimously. Thank you. Chris. Okay, would it be helpful if I pulled up your,
It's up to
I
you.
don't know, because it's a lot to like read through.
It's up to you.
So, first of all, I want to make sure people can see you and hear you. So I'm going to ask the people who are on this meeting, can you hear when Paul speaks? Can you hear him from where he's sitting?
Yes, Bruce Taversio can.
Yep, I can too. Val Pepin.
Okay, you're okay with being able to see what you can see?
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to take us through it verbally. So anytime you want to start, Paul, and talk about the request that you have, you know.
Yep, absolutely. So I think the best way to do it is I'm gonna go through line by line. Now, I mean, I'll skip a few. And then I'll go back to the budget summary, before we get into the bigger discussion. Yes, if you need a copy.
Oh, yeah, he's already given me one. So, if there's an extra,
Yeah.
we can go out to these folks out here. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna try and bring up your request. I'm just gonna have to search for it, so. And then I can share it on the screen, so hopefully people will not see me when I search.
So, the top of, the way we have it broken down is, the top line is what their actual request is.
And you need to see the amounts. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's, the request for 25-26 is $1,209,185.
Repeat that.
$1,209,185. And if you look to the left of that, in the previous 2 years, I was able to provide what was budgeted or approved rather, and what was spent in the 24-25, and then what we are currently in 25-26, where we were year to date at the time of the submission, which was December. I don't remember the date, the 19th or something like that.
Yes, you were one of the groups who got yours in on time, and the fire department always does.
We tried.
I just,
Then in previous budgets, we had an ambulance revenue offset. I'll get back into that, but in this request, it's a zero. So the total revenue or appropriations, if you will, is continue to be $1,209,185. Then we get into the actual meat of the budget. For personnel, and by personnel, that means not paid staff, but expenses for personnel, including the entire department. Employee assistance, that's, I think it's self-explanatory. But because it's based on the number of people, we were able to reduce it, so we did that. Officer expenses, those are things such as life permits, any professional thing, permitting or applications that are required. Again, based on previous years, we reduced that as well. Medical expenses, this is actually the physicals for the membership. And as you can imagine, medical expenses and physical, going to the doctor's got more expensive. So in the past, we had spread this out in a bunch of places. So if you look at the previous years, the numbers don't actually align. So I brought them all into one spot. So now that number reflects the actual cost of what we've been spending per year for physicals for our members. All members who are respond to incidents are required to take a physical. The level of physical they take depends on their activity, if they're a medical person, a support person, or an interior. Protective clothing, that we left the same. That literally buys a set of interior coat and pants and nothing else. Doesn't cover the boots, doesn't cover the mask, doesn't cover the helmet, but we left it alone. And I'll get into that a little bit when I get into the discussion. Training, again, 3,000, we left it alone. Uniforms, these are things such as the t-shirts, or most of the guys have purchased their own, but for t-shirts or for our functions, we want all look the same. Again, looking at previous years, we reduced it. If you look at the 24, 25, we had a much larger number. We purchased a bunch of shirts and we still have some items left, so we don't have to spend any more. Recruitment and retention, we left that alone as well. So the overall in personnel, we went up $5,500. And that is basically for all, it's the medical. Under stations, maintenance and repair, we left that alone. If you go back 2 years, we spent an extreme amount of money repairing the heating system in the building. Other than a small hiccup this past week, all has been good there. So we're in good shape. We left it alone. Service contracts, those are the things, the IT contracts, generator maintenance, etc. We through some things, we reduced the number of computers we have on site, etc. We kept that alone. Utilities, it's just an increase. So we just use the number that we estimated as an increase overall. That covers all utilities, oil, electricity, phone lines, etc. Building improvements. As you can see, we don't spend a lot of money on the building for the town. So we left it at zero. The improvements we've done have all been capital projects, so there's really no reason to have that in appropriation. Equipment purchases, I reduced it, and those are for the building. So again, any stuff we put in the building has been a capital project. So that line item, between the reduction and the increase in utilities went up to $4,250. Vehicles, fuel. I don't know what the fuel price is going to do. We have our agreement with the town and the school. So looking at our previous expenses, and we track our mileage in all our vehicles. I used a number that I thought would fit, so up $500. Equipment purchases, I left it alone. These are for equipment on the vehicles, if a hand light were to break or a small hand tool, etc. Repairs and maintenance, again, we left it alone. A lot of our vehicles now, we've gone through most of the upgrades. We have our last fire truck and the cycle replacement due at the end of this year. So hopefully we won't have to make a lot of large maintenance items. So that's where we're at with that. Registrations, the state of Connecticut has decided that they're going to charge us now for registrations on some of the fire apparatus. So we have to have that. Not my case. And then finally, it says mobile hotspots and tablets. 3 of the vehicles have mobile hotspots on them, for those who are familiar, so we can have Wi-Fi when we're on the road. Currently, 4 vehicles have tablets. We're gonna finish putting tablets in all the vehicles. That gives us access to on-scene information and responders, hydrant locations, pre-plans, et cetera, on site. So we went up $500 because I anticipate that we're gonna, stuff cost more. So total vehicles went up to $1,050. Under operations, dry hydrants, we assist when people install dry hydrants, we provide some of the materials, not all of them. Usually I work with a person or contractor or place that's doing it. So the $1,000, we didn't use anything last year. We worked with the Boy Scout camp and it worked out in our favor. Equipment purchases, I've reduced that based on what we purchased for operations. And those type of things would be the tablets or like a larger piece of equipment for not just one truck, but a thermal camera that was provided to an officer or something. But based on previous years, we chose to reduce that. Again, trying to keep it down as much as I could for as we can see, you know, why. Repairs and maintenance. And again, this is for on equipment, not apparatus. We left it alone. It bounces up and down, as you can see. So I thought the 10.5 was a good place. Supplies, we left that flat. So we actually end up with a reduction on that line of $3,500.
Paul, if I can interrupt for just a second for folks, it took me a while to get this up on the screen. This is going to be attached to the minutes, this presentation, what he's got laid out here. So you'll be able to go and look through it online. Thanks, Paul.
No problem. Administration, this is, again, self-explanatory. Dispatch service, we pay the Collin County Mutual Aid Fire Service a fee. It's per call plus a base number. That number is actually a little bit low, but not so much that we have to change it. 25,000, that was our estimate based on calls and the flat fee. The bill they gave me, I believe, is 25,200 at the moment, and it may go up a little because some of their services are rented out as well. So that's an increase of 4,500. That increase is strictly call volume. That's what drove that number up. Membership dues, the organization membership, looking at past numbers, I reduced that down. Legal and tax expenses, that's for basically our account. We are 501c3, but we interact with the town, so to make sure we have it correctly, we have an account. Insurance, the agent told me that plan a 10% increase. I'm crossing my fingers if that's all.
Do you use the same insurance company as the town?
No,
You don't,
we do not.
right? So you're looking at 10%. We're looking at 12%, I think.
Like I said,
For ours. Yeah.
That's the best you can do. They work with us very well.
Yeah.
We have some, we, for lack of a better term, play the game every year. We sit down, go through, see what we can change if we need to, etc. Office supplies and equipment. I did have to increase it. The current year to date is only $110, but that's because a lot of stuff goes through at the end of the year, going to the next half of the year. But looking at current trends from our supply vendors. Public relations, we left that at $1,200. This includes things when we go to the school for an event and give out the helmets or stuff like that, trunk or treat, family day, etc. Those items. The miscellaneous, kind of a catch-all, but again, last year we spent a lot, but I just brought it back. I met in the middle, so to speak. The IT service contract, that is strictly for all the, and I mentioned it that in the previous one for I can think contract services, but we do have an IT service contract to take care of all this. We actually had a server, we got rid of that. went to a cloud, so. They're all
Oh, good.
and upgraded all our, like I said, we reduced the number of actually, computers in the building, so. And we work with the state for the CEN network. We have a console on the wall in our room that handles a bunch of stuff. The I am responding, that is a alert system that goes out for all the members so that we have a backup paging system. It also allows us to send messages or I can send messages to individual people without having to rely on their given cell phone number. I can just send it to them directly. So overall, it's a $12,000 increase again, driven mostly by insurance and the dispatch. All right, and then the worst of the worst, the paid staff. So before I get into the paid staff, I'm actually going to go back and read through the
Just tell me where you end up.
page 5, the budget summary. And I'm going to start on the second paragraph. And I'm just going to read it, and then I'm going to add some information. The consistent trend of dwindling volunteer members and increased call volume is creating a life safety problem that cannot be ignored. The current staffing level of 2 personnel is no longer sufficient to ensure appropriate initial response to incidents, especially during weekday daytime hours. The department has made the decision to add an additional full-time minimum of 40 hours per week position. This position will be a dual role filled by the chief of the department. This will allow the fire chief to be appropriately compensated for their work and provide needed daytime coverage.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Quick one. You said, it says an additional full-time minimum 40 hours a week position. Is that in keeping with state law?
It's going to be a salaried position, so yes.
Salaried, therefore overtime doesn't get paid.
Correct.
Thanks. I know the feeling.
And we're working on, so as a side note, the department, because we're a 501c3, is working on amendments to their bylaws and constitution to incorporate that position correctly into the bylaws so that that is addressed in those.
Understood. Thank you.
It's super complicated.
Allow the fire
So
chief to be appropriately
the chief
compensated.
will continue to maintain responsibility for operations of the department. The actual attendance hours will be varied based on call volume history and operational. The transition to a paid chief position is a decision the department does not take lightly. Having the additional manpower present during the daytime hours to provide needed response personnel, as well as coverage for initial response when the department is responding to multiple incidents. So to go back to a little bit more background on this, when the department responds to an incident, majority of our responses are EMS, ambulance calls. So in fiscal year 25, from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025, we responded to 644 incidents. Of those, 469 were EMS. When the ambulance goes out, it requires a minimum of 2 people, no matter what. When that ambulance goes through an incident and transports a patient, we no longer have anybody on duty in town. During the day, especially, as I said, this is very important. That is why that line is in there about that new position, if you will, would be buried in hours, because we can print out a chart that tells us when we have the most calls, what day, average, etc. So that person will be tasked with, hey, we want you need to be here on this time to be the third person. And for example, in that fiscal year 25, according to all the data we had 66 incidents of what we call overlap, where the ambulance was out or we were out on an incident and we had a second incident that we needed to respond.
What you're saying is, if I understand correctly, that people were, the folks, the professionals responding to 641 calls for service during July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
Correct.
You're breaking it down in terms of where we really didn't have the
Correct.
kind of coverage that we
Correct.
needed.
So I'll just give you an example, and it's a current example. 2 days ago, Thursday morning, we had 3 incidents that were all crossed over. Our ambulance responded to a medical call. While the ambulance was at the hospital with that patient, we had a second medical call. I was home on Thursday, so I responded to all 3 actually, but I responded to the second medical call as the initial response. Met a mutual aid ambulance there. Because of the requirements, our ambulance actually responded from the hospital to assist. We transported that patient. While they were at the hospital with that patient, we had a third ambulance call. I again responded as an initial response, and met the mutual aid ambulance. And we took care of that. Then thankfully, things still good. But the problem here is that during those high time incidents where we have those crossovers like that, you may not have anybody making the initial call response. And in today's environment, people kind of expect somebody to show up, and that's a terrible thing to say, but that's what they do.
What happens in one of those situations where,
Just wait for the mutual aid ambulance.
okay, which would come from roughly,
In this case, it was Mansfield.
yeah.
So
So those are
roughly,
those are precious minutes.
It basically doubles the initial response time. You're still gonna wait for the ambulance to transport,
Right,
but you're not waiting for your initial.
EMT.
Right. And just as an aside, the average length from start to finish of our calls in fiscal year 25 was 93 minutes or 95 minutes. So an hour and a half.
How many mutual aid responses were there during that period?
Uh,
Do you know?
78.
Ooh,
Can I just ask a question?
yes.
I don't know if you remember.
We can't quite hear you.
From Hayfield, Southwest Iowa. When mutual aid comes out, do we pay for that?
If it's an ambulance transport, you pay for an ambulance, all the ambulance.
Who is you?
I'm sorry, the patient
Thank you.
pays for, the patient pays. As far, if you are transported in an ambulance, you will pay the ambulance company, whether it's Ashford Fire Department or Mansfield Fire Department or Yukon Fire Department or KB Ambulance. Every ambulance company bills for service to the patient. Okay? Fire response, we do not. That is part of that Talon County mutual aid agreement that we have. That is part of our agreement, is that they help us, we help them. So, yes, you will if you get transported by that ambulance.
I just didn't know if the town incurred something, so then really we're talking about, like Catherine said, it's time that we're.
But the town, well, in a way, the town does incur something because we are still paying for that service somewhere. It's just not, you're not gonna pay. So, and the other thing is if you look at it in the bigger picture, it is in a sense lost revenue for the department because we do bill, and the billing that we do for the ambulance is what pays for the ambulance. And I'm gonna get back to that in just a second, but, so that was one of the driving forces behind that. The other driving force behind that is the chief thing is that, it's a full-time job. And I am the chief, so I'm gonna use me as an example. Today, I returned from my regular full-time job to my house at about 2:00, changed clothes, and I was upstairs in this building at 2:55 talking with Irene about 2 incidents that I had to deal with, which she and I had already spent a few emails back and forth about, but I need to see her face to face. Did that, went to the fire station, and did a whole bunch of paperwork, get credit for this. On Thursday, I spent the entire morning, I actually had gone to the station to get this prepared, and instead I spent my morning running around. It's a full-time job. I already have a full-time job. Having two is pretty tough. So, and I actually own a pond too. And in order to do it in a manner that I think would better be suited for the town and to the taxpayers, it really needs to be a full-time position. So, now I'll get back to the rest of that personnel board. So under personnel, on the last, next to last page, or paid staff, I'm sorry, paid staff, wages. So the wage line, the request increases to $725,000. That's a $260,000. 104,000 of that is earmarked for a paid teacher. That's just wages for that position. The balance is to bring the remaining paid staff up to a number that hopefully will help us keep them. I'm losing 2 people in the next month. My two of my full-time. I lost
Paid full-timers?
full-timers. I lost 2 over the previous 6 months to other departments. Even with this increase, I will be $2 an hour less than the closest surrounding towns. We'll get into the next part. The only benefit we offer right now is PTO. So I had 2 people leave here to go to another department for better wages and benefits. Because both of those departments are that. There's also a small bump in the hours for the administrator who does all the payroll and HR paperwork and all that, and actually now is taking care of all the financial billing side of, not billing, but payment of expenses for the appropriation side of it. So to make sure that things are done properly. The FICA and taxes line, looking over past years, we figured out that we just had the numbers in the wrong spot. So we reduced that down, or I reduced it down, in this case, with the administrator's assistance. The payroll service, that's a function of payroll. So as payroll goes up, that goes up. Duty uniforms, those are what the paid staff wear. We have an allotment for that. What we do is we just allot them, each staff member given. Physicals, that's strictly for the paid staff. Same thing, physical costs have gone up. The paid staff are all, the full-time paid staff are all required to be interior firefighters and EMTs, so they take the highest level physical, so it costs the most money. I'm actually looking at another vendor because I'm trying to cut down the cost. And workman's comp is, we've been actually under budget if you didn't know this, a lot. It's a function of payroll anyway and events, so we had to adjust that to match that. And then the new line is benefits. Working with our payroll vendor, they have a program where there's looking at what we could offer the paid staff. There's no way we can offer a full benefit, medical, dental, whatever package. We would be talking about 1.5. So one thing we can do though is they have a program that is allowed for small businesses and 501c3s where you can put funds aside that it's like an HSA. So if somebody goes to a doctor, you used to be able to do this with regular insurance or some of them. Where you go, you pay your bill, then you submit your bill to the company and they reimburse you. Same thing. So it's benefits, but it's not paid up front. But we have to have that. So that's and obviously paid staff is the biggest by far dollar amount. So that accounts for $1,010,500. Then I'm going to go back one page to the ambulance revenue offset. and explain the ambulance a little bit more detail. The fire department operates the ambulance. We bill for transport. If the ambulance transports you to a hospital, which is the only place that they do, you are billed. We use a billing company that tracks all the required insurance documents, etc. That revenue is put back into a completely separate ambulance account that is used to operate it. That pays for the fuel in the ambulance, pays for the medical supplies in the ambulance, pays for all the equipment and repairs in the ambulance. None of the stuff for the actual ambulance itself comes back to the taxpayers at all. Just, it's basically a user fee to the patient.
It's kind of like self-funding,
It is, correct. It's
self-funding the ambulance.
So, in the past, we have always used some of that revenue to offset the budget, try to reduce the burden on the taxpayer. The problem is, the ambulance needs to be replaced. And that is a 300 to 400,000. We have one on order that's a little over 300,000. So, and what do we on new?
So we have one on, you said we have one on.
We have one, it's on order. We have, and
that-
a new one on order.
Is that part of our capital
No,
improvement?
it isn't.
I didn't
Nope,
see it.
it's
Oh, because of
completely-
course you're
it's
self-funding it.
self-funded.
Thank you.
Okay, so the problem is that we are supposed to be taking a given amount of revenue each year and putting it into a replacement fund. Well, instead we've been using it to offset expenses.
Ah.
So we can purchase the ambulance and we're gonna finance it just like we would if it was a capital improvement thing, but not the department does that. Well, we gotta be able to pay that. So, I actually honestly don't fully expect that we're not going to have to use some revenue to offset something because we can't predict some things. And one of the hardest things with payroll is overtime. So right now, if you look in year to date, we've spent $37,103 from ambulance revenue to offset something in our current budget, and that is payroll. The ambulance fund balances out payroll. About once every quarter, we have to remove money from the ambulance account to supplement payroll. A good example is the big storm we just had. We asked personnel to make sure that we can cover incidents if there is one. We're lucky we didn't have any major incidents, but we need to make sure we have it. If we have a major incident, we do what's called a callback, where we ask the paid staff to come back in, because those are the most experienced people. So, that's why that number is now 0, and we don't have an offset in it, because the department needs to pay for the new ambulance so that we can provide the service. And it really should be a self-funding thing. That's what what the department has tried to do. So that's where we're at. And then I thought it would be important for people to understand exactly how the department is made up. So currently, the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department has 21 volunteers on the roster. Out of those 21 volunteers, 7 of them are interior qualified firefighters. The 7 of those, 4 of them are what I would call actively participating on a regular basis. Out of the 21, volunteers, we have 4 EMTs, emergency medical technicians, and 1 EMR, which is the next level down, emergency medical response. Out of the 4, the EMR is active, very active. Out of the 4 EMTs, 3 of them are as referred to as active. We also have 4 social members. The rest of the department is made up of people who are either support personnel who do not have interior qualifications, or they can't pass an interior physical anymore, or have elected not to because of an ailment, or etc. Or they just come and help out the scene. We have fire police personnel who direct traffic when we have an auto accident or help out at a medical call. We have 6 full-time employees who will, like I said, I'm losing one in a week, and then later in the month, I lose a second one. And currently 6 part-time employees. I do have an ad out. Look, I don't even know where we posted it out there. My EA. But we do have an ad out for a full-time positions to try to replace. Part of that new thing is to try to go to a different schedule to reduce some of the overtime, which would mean we'd have more full-time employees, and everybody's like, oh, cost, well, no, it actually doesn't, because overtime costs a lot of money when you pay time and a half, and we have to pay time and a half after 40 hours, no matter what. The other goal with the third, I'm just gonna say what that chief's position is, the minimum staffing would be 2, so that chief will be responsible for covering if somebody was out sick or got hurt or whatever during certain periods. Can't cover 24/7, but that'd be part of his job, his or her job. That's where the department is. I had
Paul,
Go
if I
ahead.
can interrupt for just a minute. You have something written there that you've actually been referring to.
Yeah.
Would you mind providing a copy of that so we can also attach that to the
What's
minutes?
that? This is just my notes on people, how many people we have.
Well, it was really good to hear what you've gotten, what they're doing.
So I
So
can give you a breakdown of it.
if you could do,
if you
do that, what we'd like to
Yeah.
do is attach it to the minutes because that's what you've talked about.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't really think of it that way. I just wrote notes.
And we can make sure that the Board of Finance gets that.
Yeah, I can do that. That's easy.
Yeah.
So currently, as of today, actually, no, not today. As of the end of January, just as a looking forward, if you will. January of 2026, we had 58 incidents. 35 of those were EMS. 23 were what we call fire rescue, which is actually a better split than normal. Usually it's closer to 80-20. If we continue that track, we would be on track for 696 this year. Today is the 2nd of February. An easy number, I would say, we average about 2 at the call for incidents.
So if I could go back here. So you said you're thinking 690 something incidents? That would be calls for service, right?
Correct.
So that would be in comparison to what you had in fiscal year end 2025, which was 641.
Yeah.
So the higher number of calls and incidents. Okay, thank you.
So, any questions? Did I not answer anybody's question? Did I make more questions
And
than
I answer the
answers?
question.
Sure.
You're a 501c3.
Correct.
Is that the entire fire department or the ambulance?
The
sector?
entire person.
Okay, if somebody were to give money to the fire department, can they restrict it like to the ambulance
Yes.
and restrict?
They can.
So you behave like a regular 501c3.
We do, correct. Yes, that happens actually quite often. We get donations with a limitation on it.
Okay, and the other thing is that, explaining about how the ambulance and everything worked was news to me, and I've lived here for 38 years, and it's impressive. I think there should be an article in the Citizen that reflects on that. I really
I'm gonna
do.
write it.
No, I really do, because I think you could get some donations by people understanding that.
Anything you can do to help me get that information into the Citizen would be good, great. Okay. I'd like to add something to that. My update, my monthly update that goes in the Citizen is not in the February Citizen. But one of the things that I had written was kudos to our emergency responders for how they've handled the storm and how they handle all the storms. Because they are out there, they're working all night. You know, it's been pretty amazing, and they work together. And I didn't have a real appreciation for it until I actually saw, I hear through because I put information out about the storms and, what's going on with roads and everything. One of our storms not too long ago was our big rainstorm. And what Paul sent me and it was the first time I ever got it, was what was in the fire department's system about all of the roads that were blocked. So here I am thinking there's 6 roads blocked, when in fact, overall, there were 19. One of them was blocked in 2 places. And so when he was able to send that, you know, this is what they were working with, and that's what Public Works was working with. And this past snowstorm was hell. It was just hell. We have people that work, I know in Public Works, basically staggering around afterwards because they were pulling all-nighters, okay, and it's exhausting. And so, you know, in terms of our emergency responders and our volunteer fire department, you do a great job. You just do a great job.
You know, I'm just gonna say, like, it's really difficult, and I don't expect anybody anymore to be a volunteer. It's so difficult to do, and you know, Catherine referenced Public Works, like any other officer or any other position in town, they're compensated. And I'm not saying
Correct.
Because here's the thing, the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, says that in order to respond to a fire, an actual structure fire, initial number of personnel required is 17.
Oops.
I had 2. If I called in 4 more departments, I would get 10. That's the 4 surrounding departments, but paid department, or at least staff departments. So I'm still missing 7 people. Now, if I'm home, that's great. My job, I'm here, I'm gone, I'm here, I'm gone. A lot of our volunteers, those 7 interior people, they all have full-time day jobs, so they're not even in town. So we're, you know, relying solely on volunteers is becoming harder and harder and harder.
And actually, in the case, in particular, fire departments, it's a national problem.
Yes, it's a huge.
It is. I saw, what was it? I think it was 2 years ago, over in Stafford. Fire chief was basically on his knees saying, we need to pay these people because we don't have enough people.
I mean, I sit on the board of finance, and I'm a taxpayer in town. The last thing I want is to make somebody's tax bill go up, but also being the fire chief and having family in town,
Not at the cost.
you know, it's a tough spot to be in. So, you know, as the town grows and as the volume of calls go up and the incident numbers go up, we need to address it. And slowly is good. That's okay. We can address it slowly. But eventually we have to keep addressing it. If we don't, we're going to have to be a bigger problem. And quite honestly, some of what I've done over my last 3 years as chief is to try to catch up from stuff that we did not. And now we're at a point where we need to take the next step. In our department, the department's opinion, not just my opinion, in the department's opinion.
One of the things that Paul and I talked about, or actually as talking with the fire department overall in a meeting, was that in the past, what the fire department put forth for a budget was something that was basically as small as they could get it. And as a result, some of the equipment, some of the other things that were needed, safety equipment that they need to use, it was getting outdated. So one of the things I had asked Paul to do was, you need to tell us what you really need to be well functioning so that we understand what it is. And yeah, there's going to be issues around how much it goes up and, you know, and mill rates and whatever, but we at least need to let the public know that that's what the needs are. Okay. And yeah, this is a very big increase. If anything, it's, you know, when we're looking at what we have in the rest of our general government budget, this takes us right way up. So it'll be interesting how the Board of Finance, first of all, we look at it, and then the Board of Finance is going to look
And
at
like
it.
I said, you know, we did try very hard to reduce where we could, so
Yeah.
we could minimize, because one of the things when I went to, I'm governed by a board of directors as well. So when I went to them, I said, this is what I need for my operations. But there's other things we can do to help that, because we know that's, like Catherine said, there were places where we were just kind of, in the past, we were just, this is what we did, this is what we did. Well, let's pull back and let's take a hard look at where we actually are doing things good or better and fix it. And if we're not, let's go the other way. You know, you mentioned the ambulance, and on the capital side, we've worked to get that project so that we have a 5-year plan. So we're working, we're not just doing big numbers just for the sake of doing something. And then all of a sudden being out all of a piece of equipment. So that's kind of where we're at.
I thank you. Do we have any more questions?
I do not.
Thank you. And I'm sorry I couldn't get to your document to put it up here so people could follow along that are on,
If you want,
on Zoom and
if
even
people
later.
ask, I can print, and the board of finance will have print copies.
Say it again?
So if people ask, I can print some copies of that, the budget document.
Right,
Yeah, and then the board of finance will have it as well when we do our budget. They do their budget.
right. This is the opportunity where, from my perspective, where Paul gets to speak about it. And because he sits on the board of finance and he really can't speak about the fire department budget sitting there, but he can speak about it here. And that's why I want to make sure. Sorry?
We need the people to come in and listen, because our.
Well, he can't present it there. So he would have to have another spokesperson do it.
It'll come up.
Oh, it'll come up because it's a big budget.
People are gonna go list it and not think it's your personal property, it's your family, it's your pets, it's everything. It's your health if it's the ambulance, and it's not a luxury. This is a necessity.
And there's a huge difference between having people here located in town, you know, they're supporting us in these emergencies, and having to call in mutual aid. There's precious minutes.
We just did a quick thing tonight before I came. I was talking with one of the paid staff, and we looked at one incident where the ambulance was at the hospital. We had another incident. It took the mutual aid company 18 minutes to get here. Where probably from where that incident was, we figured about 4.5 minute response time. That's I mean, that wouldn't have changed because they were going to be at the hospital anyway. They'd taken care of the patient. But their initial time is so important for a lot of things. And that's kind of like during the daytime, especially, we've seen it more and more and more. It's almost become a routine where the ambulance goes out. If I'm home, I'm like, well, there goes the rest of my day.
Right. Yes.
Would it be possible perhaps to address your point about the Board of Finance? If you're on the Board of Finance, is there somebody else in your department that could talk to what you've said? And you're sitting there as a Board of Finance person, and this other person's presenting.
We've tried to brief people. It's just really hard to get those.
It's a good idea.
No, it's a great idea.
Exactly.
The other thing I could do is at that meeting, I can just not be seated on the Board of Finance. As long as the board has a quorum, I have no problem sitting on the other side of the table and answering questions.
You know, I never thought of that. That's not a bad idea. Because I do think you're very knowledgeable and you're articulate.
I'm a person who I don't write the budget per se, but I'm an operations person. Everybody comes to me for what's going on. The actual corporation part is pretty simple. It really is, right? What does the corporation do? That's all the membership, how we get the volunteers, get them trained, etc. But the actual day-to-day stuff, that's my responsibility. When there's an incident, I'm the person that's responsible. Well,
and you can provide the anecdotal information that actually brings the issue home.
Well, because I have to look at all these numbers all the time. Like, again, you know, all the data that's here, the staff puts into the system, then it has to be reviewed. And then it has to be reported. it goes directly to now they upgraded it, of course, January 1st, but,
What did they upgrade?
they changed this reporting system.
This is the one you and I talked about that we maybe
Yes,
didn't
we got the law of the federal government.
share.
They changed the reporting system, and they gave us the opportunity to start using it in October. And then they equated it to building an airplane while we're flying it, which is kind of a personal thing for me.
Since he's a pilot.
Because that's my job. So we went live with for us on December 19th. We aimed for December 1st, but there were so many hiccups in the system, we ended up on December 19th. So the new system, it does actually record it faster. There's a lot less messing around later on. But all that stuff, all that data has to be QC'd and then sent in. And then I can pull it up. So I can pull up. I had 644 incidents. Each one was, average time was 95 minutes. What time of day did we go? How many times did we move mutual aid, etc. So all that data has to be compiled, or you also get compiled and input it. That's, again, same thing. So I get to do it all the time, so I know how it works and what I get. And even then, still, I teach them.
Well, I think that, let's see, you've been chief how many years
This
now?
is year 4.
Year 4. But you've also, taken the step of kind of stepping back and looking at it overall. There's an expression, firefighting, you're always firefighting. Well, there's firefighting, and which is where you don't really do that. And then there's stepping back and going, wait a minute here. Okay, what would actually work better?
Well, I think the department needs to look forward at what's going on in the town. The town needs to look at the department and say, are we all working toward the same goal, which is to protect life and property? I mean, that's actually really what our job is, protect life and property.
Any other questions? Paul, thank you. Again, if you could provide me with that breakdown, I know.
I'll just send you an email with that.
That's perfect. And what I'll do is I'll make sure the Board of Finance gets that.
Okay.
So that may reduce some questions if they've got that picture.
This is the copy that I spoke from, and I just put my name and date on it.
All right.
I had some
Thanks,
other
Nancy.
notes down there, so you can.
Okay.
And if you want to
Excellent.
go
Okay,
electronic,
so we still have some more meeting. We are now at the point of possible executive session to discuss possible litigation and personnel. We are going to go into executive session tonight, so I unfortunately have to ask all of you folks to exit. I got myself into a kerfuffle when I tried to do this of shutting off the video and shutting off the
I saw that.
audio in a meeting when I thought we were going to go into executive session. But what we do want to do is we do want to record at this point that we are going to go into executive session. Someone's going to have to make a motion to go into executive session. Give me a second. At 9 o'clock to discuss, what do we have here? Possible litigation and personnel
Don't put my name on it.
issues. So if someone would make that motion, I'd appreciate it.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Okay, and that's at 9 o'clock.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Chris, you don't need to be here for this, or,
Have a good night.
thank you, Paul. Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session.
Server room,
Sorry?
do you want stuff in the server room so you don't have to carry it home?
No, I'll carry it home. I have my briefcase. Thank you. I planned accordingly. Okay, so we're actually going into executive session at 9 o'clock. And the parties going in, I'm sorry, we had a motion and a second. And the parties that we're going in are the 3 selectmen. Would someone make a motion to approve that? I'm sorry. Someone made a motion.
We made a motion that we want.
Do we have a second?
He did.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. And All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is unanimously approved. And for those of you who are online and out there, we are going to shut down the meeting and the recording. All of the rest of the meeting minutes, whatever, the minutes will reflect what else happened after this point in the meeting. Thank you. So, let me just bring this down.